Hey, survivors, ZedFiles here. Here we have the Direwolf, an amazing travel and combat mount that performs best in packs. And here we have the Thyla, also an amazing travel and combat mount. But is it useless when compared to the Direwolf, or is it instead better in every way? Well, in this video, I'm going to be doing an in-depth comparison on these two creatures, and finding the answers to those questions in another episode of ARC Creature Comparison. I'll be comparing them through 12 tests and 3 battles, which are sorted into 6 different categories: resistance, attacks, mobility, utility, perks, and lastly the battles. So first I'll be comparing them in the resistance category, and the first test is health. At level 1 base team stats, the Thyla has 700 health, and the Direwolf has 370 less than the Thyla, which is 2.12 times less. At level 297 max tame stats, with both creatures having 30 wild points and 15 tamed points pumped into health, the Thyla has 10,804 health, and the Direwolf has 6,287, 4,517 less than the Thyla, which is 1.72 times less. So at low levels, the Thyla has more than 2 times more health than the Direwolf, and at high levels, it'll have around 1.7 times more. The Thyla easily wins the health test. The next test is saddles. The Thyla saddle is learnt at level 51, the Direwolf doesn't have a saddle. This is both good and bad, more bad though. It's good because it means you can ride the Direwolf at any level, and it's bad because it means that the Direwolf can't get any armor. The Thyla wins this test. The Direwolf's damage resistance will be covered later in the attacks test. The Thyla wins the resistance category with both tests won. The next category, that also doubles as a test, is the attacks category. Useless attacks will earn 0 points, okay attacks 1 point, good attacks 2 points, great attacks 3 points, amazing attacks 4 points, and legendary attacks 5 points. So first I'll be comparing them at their level 1 base tame stats. The Thyla's first attack is its bite. This does 64 damage, can attack 1.2 times every second. This means its DPS, damage per second, is 76.8, and this attack uses 5 stamina. This is a great attack and earns 3 points. The Direwolf's first attack is also the bite. This one does 53 damage, can attack 1.6 times every second, which means its DPS is 84.8. This attack uses 5 stamina as well. This is an amazing attack and earns 4 points. The Thyla's second attack is its pounce. This attack is used when the Thyla is hanging on a vertical surface. You can aim where you want to pounce with the crosshairs that you'll get. This does 30 damage on impact, then when it catches something, it will do 40 damage. It can catch pretty much all small and medium creatures, including flyers. When the creatures are caught, they'll become unable to move or fight back. When it's caught something, it will attack 3 at a time, so 3 40s, and will repeat this 8 times before letting go of its target. So it will attack 24 times in the duration of this attack, which is 10 seconds. This means its average attack speed of when it's caught something is 2.4 times per second. For the duration of it catching something, it will do 40 damage 24 times, so 960 damage, plus the 30 damage from the impact, so 990 damage, which means its DPS is 99. And an important thing to note is that its pounce attack's damage stays the same even when the melee damage has been upgraded, so its damage will always remain the same at low and high levels. This attack uses 20 stamina for the start of the pounce, but the Thyla actually regenerates stamina once it's caught its prey. The effect of this attack is not only to catch its victims, but it can also dismount players off their mounts. This is an amazing attack and earns 4 points. The Direwolf's second attack is its sniff. This scans the area for unopened explorer notes and hidden creatures, like Pelovias when they are underground. The scan lasts for 15 seconds, then after that you'll have to sniff again. The Direwolf's passive ability to smell injured creatures is active all the time. It's not related to this attack. The speed isn't really that important, but anyway it's 4 seconds. This attack uses 75 stamina. This is a good attack and earns 2 points. The Thyla's third attack is its Roar. This is just for aesthetics and uses 5 stamina. This is a useless attack and earns 0 points. The Direwolf's third attack is the Howl. When there is at least 2 Direwolves with each other, the highest level Direwolf would become the pack leader. The Direwolf that is the pack leader, none of the others, will be able to use the Howl. The first thing this does is makes all the other wolves howl back, then all of the wolves will get an orange glow. This glow means that the wolves have now gotten the packmate buff. For the leader it would be called the pack leader buff, but it still does the same things, which is boosting damage by 50% and reducing incoming damage by 25%. The buff will last for 90 seconds, but then has a 90-second cooldown debuff at the end of that. Once the cooldown is down, you can use the attack again. This attack uses 35 stamina. This is a legendary attack and earns 5 points. The passive pack bonus ability will be covered later in the abilities test. Now going back to the creature's main attacks, the bite attacks. At level 1 base tame stats, the Direwolf's DPS is 8 more than the Thyla, which is 1.1 times more damage. At level 297, max tame stats, with both creatures having 34 wild points and 20 tame points pumped into damage, the Thyla now does 281 damage, which means its DPS is now 337.2, and the Direwolf now does 232 damage, which means its DPS is now 371.2. This is 34 more damage than the Thyla, which is again 1.1 times more damage. The Direwolf wins the attacks test with 11 points, 4 more points than the Thyla. The creature's passive abilities, like the Thyla's Climb, will be covered later in the abilities test. The next category is mobility, and the first 2 tests are stamina and speed. The Thyla has 400 stamina and can run 285 foundations in 57 seconds before running out. This means its speed is 50 foundations per 10 seconds. The Direwolf has 260 stamina and can run 114 foundations in 26 seconds before running out, so it can run for 2.19 times less seconds than the Thyla. Its speed is 44 foundations per 10 seconds, which is 1.14 times slower than the Thyla. Both creatures can also jump. The Thyla, while jumping as much as possible, can run 280 foundations in 40 seconds before running out of stamina, so its speed is 70 foundations per 10 seconds. The Direwolf, while jumping as much as possible, can run 90 foundations in 12 seconds before running out of stamina, which is 3.33 times less seconds than the Thyla while jumping. Its speed is 75 foundations per 10 seconds, 1.07 times faster than the Thyla while jumping. But a problem with the Direwolf jumping is that since it will usually be running with the pack, it would get too far ahead of its pack members when using the jump, since the other wolves can't use the jump if they don't have a rider. These tests were done at level 1 base tame stats, and these differences will remain pretty much the same as percentages as the creatures are leveled up. The Thyla wins the stamina test with a lot more and being able to run for more than 2 times longer than the Direwolf. The speed test is a draw because the Thyla is slightly faster while running normally, and the Direwolf is slightly faster while jumping. The next test is turning. The Thyla's walking turning radius is very good. Its sprinting turning radius is also very good. The Direwolf's walking turning radius is also very good, and its sprinting turning radius is, yet again, very good. This test is a draw. The next test is swimming. At level 1 base tame stats, the Thyla has 200 oxygen, the Direwolf has 150 oxygen. The Thyla swims 36 foundations per 10 seconds, and the Direwolf swims 15 foundations per 10 seconds. The Thyla is more than 2 times faster, so it easily wins this test. The Thyla wins the mobility category with 2 wins. The next category is utility, and the first test is weight. At level 1 base team stats, the Thyla has 400 weight, the Direwolf has 170, 230 less than the Thyla, which is 2.35 times less. At level 297 max team stats, with both creatures having 28 wild points and 15 tame points pumped into weight, the Thyla has 998.4, the Direwolf has 424.3, 574.1 less than the Thyla, which is again 2.35 times less. The Thyla wins this test with more than double the weight at both low and high levels. The next test is harvesting. Both creatures harvest corpses, so they'll get stuff like meat, hide, keratin, chitin, and so on, but the Thyla is much better at harvesting hide. The Thyla wins this test. The Thyla wins the utility category with both tests won. The next category is perks. The first test is abilities. The points in this test work the same as they did in the attacks test. The Thyla's first ability is the jump. As we saw from the stamina and speed tests, this helps the Thyla to travel a little bit faster. It's also a very high jump, so it'll help the Thyla to get to high places easily. This is a great ability and adds 3 points. The Direwolf's first ability is also the jump. As we also saw from the stamina and speed tests, this helps the Direwolf to travel faster. It's not a high jump like the Thyla's, but it travels further quicker than the Thyla's does. This is a great ability and earns 3 points. The Thyla's second ability is the climb. The Thyla can climb up vertical surfaces, both man-made and natural. The Thyla can only go up and down, and also stay in place by facing the ground. It can't regenerate stamina while doing this though. You can dismount your Thyla, and they'll stay on the surface, which can be very useful in PvP, because the Thyla, while staying in place, can also use its pounce attack, covered before in the attacks test, which does good damage and will immobilize its target. You can also just use the pounce as a way to get down quickly, but be careful of fall damage. This is an amazing ability and earns 4 points. The Direwolf's second ability is the scent. The Direwolf will always be smelling for injured and dead creatures. When creatures go below half health, they'll have a yellow icon on them. If they're hurt more than that, then they will turn to orange. If they get even more hurt, then red. The Direwolf can also smell for dead creatures, and those will have a white icon on top of them. This ability will help for when finding hiding enemies and seeing how close your opponent is to death. This is a great ability and earns 3 points. The Thyla's third ability is that it takes less knockback than the Direwolf. This will help it to do more damage to creatures with a lot of knockback. The Direwolf won't be able to fully utilize its high attack speed, since it won't be in range for a lot of the time that it's attacking, especially when it's not mounted. This is a good ability and earns 2 points. The Direwolf's third and final ability is its pack bonus. You can see how many pack bonuses there are by the blue number. For every fellow Direwolf, the Direwolves will get a pack bonus. So if there's 2 of them, each one will get 1 pack bonus. If there's 4 of them, then there'll be 3 pack bonuses per wolf. And if there's 5 of them, there'll be 4 pack bonuses per wolf. 4 is the limit for the pack bonus. You can't get any higher than that for the Direwolves. So a pack of 5 is the best. For each pack bonus, the Direwolf will get a 5% damage boost. So if a Direwolf has 4 pack bonuses, it will have a 20% damage boost. Also, the highest Direwolf will become the pack leader. All this does is allow it to use the Howl ability covered before in the attacks test. This is an amazing ability and earns 4 points. The Thyla's fourth and final ability is its larger field of view. It's only by a little bit, so it's only an okay attack and earns 1 point. The abilities test is a draw with 10 points per creature. The next test is bonuses. Both creatures are rideable. Both creatures allow rider weaponry. Both creatures can be mate boosted. Both creatures can be bred. Neither of them lay eggs. The Thyla's feces size is medium, and the Direwolf's is only small. The Thyla earns this bonus. Both creatures can only damage up to thatched structures. The Thyla wins the bonuses test with 6 out of 7 bonuses earned, 1 more than the Direwolf. The final test before we get into the battles is the taming test. There will be 8 factors to help decide which creature is the winner of this test. The creature that wins is the creature that is easier to tame. The Thyla spawns in the redwoods, and it's an uncommon spawn. It can either be found on trees or just on the ground. Be careful when it's in the trees because it could pounce you. It could even pounce you off your flyer. The Direwolf spawns in the snow biome and is a very common spawn. The Direwolf wins this factor since it is much easier to find. Both creatures are aggressive and are knockout tames, so these 2 factors are draws. At level 1 base wild stats, the Thyla has 700 torpor, the Direwolf has 450. The Direwolf has 250 less torpor, making it easier to knock out. The Direwolf wins this factor. The Thyla is faster than the Direwolf, making it harder to keep at a safe distance. The Direwolf wins this factor. Both creatures are carryable by RGs and above. This factor is a draw. The Thyla can be immobilized by bear traps and above. The Direwolf can be immobilized by bolus and above. The Direwolf wins this factor. The Thyla eats meat, but prefers it cooked, and its top 2 favorite foods are extraordinary kibble and then cooked mutton. The Direwolf eats meat, and its top 2 favorite foods are superior kibble and then raw mutton. The Thyla will require more of these foods though, and its kibble is much harder to make than the Direwolf's. The Direwolf wins this factor. The Direwolf wins this test with 5 factors on, the other 3 were draws. The Perks category is a draw with 1 win per creature. The next and final category is the battles category. There will be 3 battles, the 1v1 battle, the saddle 1v1 battle, and then the mate boosted and pack boosted for the Direwolves 5v5 battle. And for all of the battles, the creatures will be at their level 1 base tame stats. And also, I'll be riding the Direwolf pack leader in the 5v5 battle, because if I don't, the wolves will just be howling mid-fight. Now that all of the categories are finished, it's time for the summary. The Direwolf won the attacks and taming tests, so only 2 tests, and the Thyla won the health, saddles, stamina, swimming, weight, harvesting, and bonuses tests, so 7 tests, and won all 3 of the battles. The last battle was pretty close though, and the other 3 tests were draws. The Direwolf is the best combat mount you can find for early to mid game. It's a glass cannon. It does tons of damage but can't take that much itself. If you want it to be the strongest it can be, make sure to tame a few more Direwolves so that they can get their pack bonus and have access to the howl. It's not too difficult to tame and can be ridden at any level. It can even help you level up quicker by helping you find explorer notes. It's also good for travelling, it's super fast and can run for an okay amount of time. It's like an early game Thyla that is actually better for quickly shredding apart opponents. The Thyla is the best all-around mount for mid to late game. It has tons of weight, is very fast, yet can still run for ages before running out of stamina. It can also easily travel up used to be difficult terrain and swim very quickly across water. It is also good at hunting, doesn't do as much damage as the Direwolf, but it has much more health, making it the superior solo combat mount. Well, we have now reached the end of this video. If you enjoyed or found it helpful, don't forget to give it a like, and also make sure to be subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss any future creature comparison videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.